Hi, this is Shep.
And Brittany.
And this is the Super
Amazing Show.
And what are we going to do this week?
Well, I'm curious if you have an example of a company taking something that is oftentimes complicated and simplifying it.
Well, you're singing my song because one of my big points in my keynote presentations is to make the complicated simple. And I have a great example from my book, The Convenience Revolution, and it has to do with the Wall Street Journal subscription form that they would use to get customers to fill out the form with the credit card information, and then they would subscribe. And what they learned was really interesting, that really all you need when you're selling something like this online, this is just an example, a metaphor for anything we're talking about here, is that if it's an online sale, you need the name, right, the email address, and the credit card information. What you don't need is all the other questions that they ask you about your job, your occupation, how long you've been in business, how old you are, whatever the questions are. And here's the point. The Wall Street Journal found that for every field of information they removed from that checkout process, the cart abandonment rate, which is where people drop off, reduced, meaning more people purchased the easier it got, the shorter the form got, the simplification of it all. And so that's what I want people to be doing, is thinking about this. But it is a fascinating study on how it works, and it's convenient.
I will never understand why people make it so much more complicated than it needs to be for people to give them the money. Make it easy for people to give you the money. All right, we will see you right back here next week for another episode of
The Super Amazing Show.